And then, oh, and your internet's or whatever, like the video is much better right now too. It's not grainy. So,
Cool.
yeah. Just a reminder to ask him to stay on when it gets close to the end, like or after we, finish up so it can upload.
Okay.
You do have like a glare on your glasses. I don't know if it's like of the screen,
It's
but
that
there's.
light. Went away now, right?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Man, even if I put this light like this, it seems to do something. Yannick, eunuch. Where you be, bro?
Yeah, I haven't sent it like the updated calendar invite too. So maybe he's just trying to get in and get it figured out.
Yeah, he's kind of slow. I feel like when you see hear him talk and stuff, I'm like, oh, no wonder you haven't blown up. You need someone else to preach the word. Oh, I was gonna show you this right quick while we're together. Here, let me
Yeah.
show you. Saw something this morning.
Okay.
Look at these things. This is the one I'm going to show you, but these things are growing everywhere around us. They're wild persimmons.
That's so cool. I've never even heard of
And,
wild persimmons just like that.
and they taste like candy. It's crazy. Like, they're so good.
Wow. I really like persimmons. That's super cool.
So I was making these steel cut oats for the kids. And
Mm-hmm.
I always buy this brand because they're sprouted,
Yeah, me too.
But look,
Yeah.
they've got that.
Oh, is it the Detox Project one or just in general
No.
glyphosate
Well,
free? Sorry.
that's kind of like our idea we had, right? Like how we
Yeah,
were trying to figure out how to.
put it on
But
there.
they have this right here for their glyphosate testing, and
Hmm.
it says biochecked.
Yeah, and that's just
John,
another company besides the Detox Project that does it.
well, I'm glad we make our own icons, so we don't have to pay other people to use theirs.
I know, right? I mean, that is kind of crazy when all you have to do is just the third-party lab
That's
testing.
why I don't certify organic everything, because it's like, dude, I'm already paying a premium for certified organic raw materials. I'm not going to then pay that same company again. Like, you guys
Yeah.
are triple dipping, and they're like, well, that's just the way it is if you want to use that USDA green stamp. Customers need to see that. I'm like, yeah, in
Hmm.
a retail world, I can see that, but I'm not in
Hmm.
retail. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's like if
Yes.
the customer's walking down the aisle and there's nothing there to like help interface them with the materials or whatever, then I totally
Right.
get it. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're already
Well,
familiar with the brand and know what we do and all that kind of stuff, it's a little different. So
mm-hmm.
lots and lots of comments of people excited on the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. So that's super cool.
Hey, that was so funny. I guess Sabrina felt like it was her sole idea. And I hated to burst anyone's bubble, but me and T had talked about that
Oh,
and I've
really?
talked about 12 days.
Gotcha. She did bring it
Oh
up
yeah,
to
we're,
me, and that's why. And I told her like, "Hey, we're using your idea." And then, but it's funny that you say that because she was like, "Oh, well, it was like our collabed idea or something like that." So
yeah.
that's funny. 'Cause it's like,
Right. Not that it matters, but it was just funny.
no, no, but that's funny.
Yeah. Whatever.
Hmm. But yeah, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do. He's 15 minutes late.
Let me see if he's messaged anything here. All right, nothing yet. Do you want me to reach out to him again?
I mean, you've already reached out to him once. I guess we just, at this point, just cancel the call. I mean, if he doesn't come in 4 minutes, and
Yeah. Or
let's
send
see
an
how
email or something because we already pushed it back an hour. So
yeah.
the only thing could be if I got the time change wrong, but I even just checked it again and put like 6 p.m. Paris time, and it's 12 p.m. here, which is 11 your time, so.
Yeah. Always something seems like
Is the ozone manual okay? I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, but I just wanted to check with
yeah,
you before I send it to Sabrina. Okay. And maybe
yeah.
with that, I'll throw it up in Asana, like just so we have it there. Also, I'll put it in Dropbox. And you want me to email it to like Sabrina and Melinda?
Just Sabrina needs it.
Just Sabrina? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she can give it to Melinda. They're right there next to each other.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll do that.
These guys.
Ah,
Bonjour.
bonjour. Hello.
Hi, Yannick. I'm Nicole. I'm going to hop off, but I'll let you guys go ahead and get started.
Hey, buddy.
Hello. How are you?
I am well. I am well. How are you doing today?
A lot of. Do you hear me? It's okay, or
Yeah.
and the internet
Just
connection?
yeah, yeah. Seems maybe not the best, but I know you're probably up in the mountain a little bit, and I know I don't have the best internet either. So I can't see your
Okay.
screen, but that's fine.
So I have internet through my phone,
But
so
the
it's
audio is good.
okay. Then it's okay if the audio. So I don't know you for the moment, but we will meet and see how I can help you with your interview or what our conversation.
So today it's more so just wanting to introduce you to our audience, and I appreciate you wanting to help me in my journey and all that, and That's not really what I wanted to focus on. I really just wanted to focus mainly on just introducing you to, again, my audience and Electroculture. I found you and Andrea around 6 or 7 months ago, and I was just blown away where you guys had taken Electroculture, because I had started studying Electroculture mainly in the form of, very similar to your story. I worked with the music and the songbirds and learning about how the birds open up the stomata into the plants. And then I got really big into other frequencies and working with like 432 hertz and understanding how the music changed, how the powers that be changed all of the recordings to 440 hertz, and really understanding how this can affect our DNA, and then understanding other frequencies like 528 hertz and the higher spheres, the angelic spheres that exist, and really opening my mind to this. And then I got real big into pyramid power, and I built like a 30, the base was like 30 feet, Giza pyramid, and I would meditate under this, and it changed my life. I did like a 30-day meditation under the pyramid for, anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day. But I had this situated in my garden, and so it's like I would sit under the pyramid and the plants were around me, and it was just so powerful for me. But I had 2 children. My company really started to grow. I got extremely busy, and I kind of stopped the research and development of Electroculture. Like I said, around 6, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 8 months ago, 6 to 8 months ago, I found you and Andrea and saw what you guys were doing. And I immediately got goosebumps over my body. I was like, oh my gosh, there's way more to this than I ever knew. The work from Justin Christophe, the Stone Age farming, so the pyramids or the cones, which from what I understand is now kind of like not the new thing, but the newest thing you're kind of really working on and seeing good results with. And then I bought one of your antennas. I bought some other stuff from you. I bought one of your cones, and to support you, because I had spent months reading about you and learning, and I felt like I wanted to just, do something to help you and your movement. So I was like, I'll just buy some stuff from his website. So I always tell people, like, hey, if you want to support these guys, like, just buy some stuff from their website. There's a reason why they have it. There's a reason why they're offering it. And, a lot of people like to take knowledge and information and gain information, but then they don't like to give back. And it's something that, for me, it doesn't work this way. Like, it's the law of reciprocity. You have to, if you obtain something that's valuable to you, you have to give that value back in any way, shape, or form that you can. And that's what keeps the circle moving. That's what keeps people investigating and researching things. And so anyways, I digress here. But I just really would like, if you don't mind, to introduce you, Yannick, to Crucial Force podcast here. And that's kind of the point of this talk this morning, or morning for me, nighttime for you. So
it's evening time. It's 6:20 p.m.
awesome.
At my place. So I listen. What with what topic would you like to begin? About electroculture, right? About how.
Well, I really like the idea of, there's a few people that talk about electroculture, but one thing that I really enjoy about you and Andrea is you talk about the telluric and the cosmic and magnetic forces that are already around us, and how to capture those. So maybe we could start here. Maybe if you could explain to people like the different types of energy that is available to us without us having having to use any type of artificial electricity. Just maybe a quick rundown of what you have found to be something the eye cannot see, but is definitely an energetic field that is once we yeah.
So to introduce electroculture with that topic is, it's like we have a lot of magnetic electrical energies around us, but tools to capture them, or to or we need the kind of antennas to take advantage of those energies. It's like we have a lot of radio waves around us, but if we don't have the radio, we cannot hear the radio. So it's the same. So it's magnetic energies of the Earth magnetic field that is there. Everybody knows it's there. All scientific, all science men, and has a huge influence on life on Earth. But we have also the electrical field on Earth, and we have also other waves and frequencies that are natural around us, and we need to understand how those influences plant growth, how those influences soil fertility, and then when we understand it better, then we can create tools that will help to improve, to amplify, and also to collect those energies and to transform into beneficial energies for plant growth and soil fertility. So that's how I see the picture. Now, you were talking about Andrea and other. I began with electroculture like more than 20 years ago. First, it was with the influence of sound on plant growth during my studies of engineering and agriculture. And then bit by bit, I discovered the electromagnetic influences on plant growth, and I did my first experiments with that directly around 2001, 2003. And bit by bit, I developed it more. I did electromagnetic treatment or energizing water for irrigation in agriculture. Then I worked with greenhouses and big farmers around France, Holland, Belgium, so in Switzerland too. And then bit by bit, I developed the technologies that I show today since around 2008, 2009. I developed magnetic antennas to put in the soil and different things like that. And now since 2018. And if you compare with the work or with how Andrea develops it, he is more in the direction of permaculture, also dowsing and things like that. I'm so much in the direction of dowsing. I'm not for it. The dowsing is for me, it's for me a whole other field. But it can also be interesting, but it's a whole other field. I really stay really focused on electroculture in the historical point of view of the magnetic and electrical energies that everybody can measure and that we can improve and that we can understand better. And it's already a whole field. Andrea, for example, he is an Italian guy. Italians are like very creative and they like to talk a lot and they like to do a lot everywhere, but it's another story. And we are not always agree with Andrea. So now, since I began, there are different people. Andrea discovered electroculture a few years ago only. I went to do a workshop at his place, and after he began also to organize workshop for himself. But there are also other people. There is also a guy in USA that is David Wexler. He works more on the artificial electricity in the soil, how to influence a plant growth with artificial electricity. And that's also a topic, that's also a whole other field, electroculture, but I'm more focused on the natural electricity. So with antennas that will collect more the natural atmospheric electricity and the natural earth magnetic waves and frequencies and fields. So the electroculture, a big domain with a lot of applications, and now there are different people that develop it through their interest of some applications. So we have all things to learn from each other for sure. Very interesting. So it's a whole new field, but it's not really new. It's like it was already discovered 2-3 centuries ago, and I have also met writings where they talk about atmospheric antennas that existed like 1,000 or 3,000 years ago. So maybe it existed even a lot before. But it's from 10 to 20 years that I redevelop and promote it or work to make it discover through internet. Some videos, I made internet sites, and now I'm writing a book. I'm not only one book, already several books. So there will be much to tell about. In USA, you have also the work. There's also good introduction to it. Is the work of Phil Callahan. The work of Phil Callahan that speaks about the magnetic life of agriculture. He is really also a pioneer that inspired me really a lot, and in the domain of electroculture. Very, very interesting too.
Wasn't
so
Phil,
there's really a lot to discover.
Yeah, when I read about Phil, I remember reading about Phil Callahan. Was he mainly working with the power towers energy and the paramagnetic energy, or am my studies wrong here? Well, when I remember reading about Phil, I was thinking he was big in dowsing. I remember reading the book Stone Age Farming by Anne something. I have the book here somewhere.
Yes, Alana Moore.
Yeah,
Alana Moore. It's Stone Age Farming. Too, yes, but she go a lot in dowsing, but I go a lot more in the science part of it, because those people like Andrea, Alana, they are not science people. They are people that doesn't have really a scientific background, and so when they don't understand something, they want to understand it through dowsing. But sometimes you have really. But sometimes you don't need dowsing. You just read some science articles to understand certain things that are not really hocus pocus or something. No, they are really very well explained how electricity works, how magnetic field works. But there are still a lot of mysteries, and then maybe dowsing can help to understand things. But we have to be very careful with, that's my opinion, we have to be very careful with dowsing practices, because with dowsing, the problem is that you will have as much as you will have dowsers. So they will find mostly different, they will have different opinions, they will have different measurements. And I want to I want to rationalize that and to find common sense and to find really electronic equipment that we can measure, that everybody can measure the same thing and very scientifically. Because I think we will be able to improve or to make electroculture a lot more known if we can show really really hard fact measurements and really if we can understand it also better on a fake way. And so that's where I work on mostly. And also about Alana Moore, for example, she worked a lot on the power towers or the round towers like Phil Callahan. Right. So the round towers were more discovered, or the use of it for agriculture was more discovered by Phil Callahan. That's really his discovery. And then, but that was in the years 1940s. And then in the 90s, he wrote, in the 80s, he wrote different books, like the book I showed you, make it more known. But he discovered that already in the 40s. And Alana Moore, she was at that time, I think, in Australia, and she was also very interested in that field, and she probably learned from Phil Callahan books. And then she began to test this and to see that to farmers, and then she made a book out of it, of her experience and her observations. And her book is very interesting, because you see in her book that when you use natural materials, most cases, the results were a lot better than when they use like a plastic tubes or things like that. So that's very interesting too. But I learned.
I was about to say that is very interesting because she actually sells the power towers, and in her book she's like,
I don't know.
Yeah, she's like, not to talk any negative way about anyone, but just because I researched this, I've been researching this. You opened the door, and I went through the door and down the rabbit hole, and I read her book, and she was said, oh, it doesn't matter if it's made with plastic, the outside can be a plastic tube. And as long as you put the salt inside. But then she says things like, you have to put it on the right spot. If you put it in the wrong spot, this can cause problems and the dowsing. And then she would say things like, you never want to use quartz in the material. And some of these things, my intuition was not resonating with. I did not agree with this, because for me, quartz is a superconductor. And if we're trying to conduct energy and amplify energy.
Yes, but the problem is she don't know enough the science behind it, and that's why she tells this. It's not she, but she. I don't want to tell bad, because her book helped a lot to make it known about power towers, and that's a very good thing. Her book is her book. It's like one of the first books to make it cover those round towers and also other techniques too, like Agniotra and other. But yes, this book, very nice book. But for example, I'm now also working on a book on the round towers, but I work on it with my experience with the farmers I worked with. I will show results and everything like that. And my observation, and also what we see in basalt is rich in quartz. So she cannot tell you don't have to put quartz because basalt is sometimes 40-60% is quartz. So so it's like when we make a tower, it's like you put a big quartz crystal in the field. It's, if when you make a tower like 1 meter or 2 meters high, it's like you make a big quartz crystal. You can see that like this. It's really amazing. But it's a lot more than just a quartz crystal. It's also a paramagnetic antenna.
Right.
And the quartz, it's not paramagnetic, but with the other atoms and molecules that you have in basalt, for example, or some granite, it makes that it will become paramagnetic, and then it will resonate with the Earth magnetic waves too. That the quartz will more resonate with high frequency cosmic waves. And that's and that will respond to with your first question about cosmic energy and Earth energy. The paramagnetic force is more the energy, and the quartz will influence more the cosmic energy. Will really be an antenna of the cosmic energy, and the paramagnetic basalt from the volcanoes. It comes out of the volcano. It's really the Earth energy. And so every tool, in my eyes, every antenna need to be balanced in with Earth energies apart and a cosmic energy. Because if you increase too much the cosmic energy on a place, then plants can grow also bigger and better, but they will flower more quickly, sometimes too quickly. So they will grow more tall in height, but they will have less. They will be less big in large in the width, and so. But if you do only the Earth energies, then it will not flower or later or less, but the plant will be very big, like how to say that? So something really close to the soil and big. So and we need the two. We need really a balance of the two. And my first step in electroculture was really to discover that it was in a field of a farmer I know, and he had a lot of problems. And my conclusion was that there was an imbalance between the cosmic energies and the Earth energies. The two energies are good, but if there is more of one and not enough of the other, then you have problems. Then you have imbalances, and then what we need to do is to increase the energy that is not enough. And so in that field there was too much cosmic energies, but not enough Earth energies.
Could you
and then I
would you mind elaborating on what he was doing that was creating so much cosmic energy, and then maybe kind of just real quickly so people can understand for principal application?
Yes. So it was an organic farmer that was in the biodynamic movement. And in the biodynamic or organic movement, they use a lot of silicium. So they use a lot of quartz. And if you use too much quartz, then you will increase too much the cosmic energies. And then they had weeds that become really very big and tall, and that really supplement or they were very invasive in their fields. It was amaranth, and they had cauliflowers and cabbage field. Yes, they had cabbage field, and it was not cauliflowers. It was a cabbage field to make sauerkraut. I don't know the English word.
That's the English word. That's the English word. Yeah, it's a German word, but it's
okay.
the same word we use. Yes,
it's used in English too.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very good for health, huh? But the problem, it was so much life force, and the plants, the cabbages still stay little, and they wanted to go in flower the first year. And normally they go in flower the second year, but like there was too much cosmic energies, they wanted to go in flower the first year. And then I was thinking, if I increase the earth energies, what would be the best method? And then I was thinking about electroculture. If we increase the magnetic field of the earth, really the earth magnetism on that field, then it will be balanced and it will grow a lot better. And then I developed magnetic antennas. I made magnetic antennas with big magnets that I put all around. I put like every 12 meter. It was 12 meter in feet. I don't know. We have it's like 30, 40 feet. Every 30, 40. Yeah. So every 12 meter, I put a magnetic antenna in the field to increase that magnetic energy. And the first year, the cabbages became from 2-3 kilo. They in the past they became 6 to 9 kilos each. Wow. And the amaranth that was so big, it is very little, and there were a lot less. So I solved the whole problem by this, and then I was the first amazed of it, because I see, wow, it works really well. The idea that I had and the conclusion, it was right, because my solution was really right too, and it solved the problem. And then after that, it was in 2008, 2009. Then there was a journalist that made an article about this in an alternative magazine. And after that, other farmers began to contact me, and I began to work in that field to do that. And now we are like 13 years after, so now I have a lot more experience than in that time. And there's a lot now, a lot new discoveries too, about the cones, about different things. Now, in place of big magnets, I put in the earth cones like this. It's even more easy. And this you have also the angle, 51 degrees that you find back in the pyramids of Gizeh, and also the Nubian pyramids. You have the 51 degrees, and that will act as an antenna with a cosmic force. And then you have
can I show you
inside.
Something right quick?
Yes, you can show me something if you want.
I want to show you something. Yeah, no, right quick. Right before you keep going. So, like I said, I've been following.
I continue in the meantime if you want.
No, I've been following you very closely, and I've been listening to you talk about these cones. And so I obviously got some antennas from you, but I immediately went on the internet and I found somebody in America who has a 3D printer. And I don't know if you can see my screen, but I basically had somebody custom make me a mold of the 51 degree angle. And he's got 2 more sizes. It's like bigger one and a smaller one, because I really resonated with the idea of putting, like quartz inside of here with the basalt. So I wanted to show you this, because this was something that, it cost me like around $700 to have this guy do all this work, and he has to first make the cones out of plastic. Then he had to cast them into this silicone, and it's a completely custom job. But I want to let you know that I bought some cones from you, but I'm looking to make my own, because when your latest, information has really been like focusing on the cones and getting the cones into the earth. And so anyways, I digress. I just excited. I wanted to show you that I'm doing work here in America to help kind of accentuate the latest and greatest from Yannick.
Yes. So very good. Now, the molds, you find also molds on my internet site, but you have different ways how to make molds. There are easy ways and difficult ways. There are a lot of kind of molds. It's a whole domain also. So to make yourself, you can. I don't find the word because my English is not good enough. But you can take take a plastic, and then and you bend it like this, in a good size and shape, and you can make also a mold. But that's easy way to do. But if you want to make more perfect, then you can do like you did with a 3D printer and different things like that. So there are different ways to do it. But if you don't want to make yourself, you can buy the mold also in my shop and then make your own cones for your garden. That's also possible, or for your farm even. So, and otherwise you can also, if you, I don't, how to say, if I don't send like 100 cones to US or something, because it's very heavy weight, so you can make yourself locally. But if it's only a few cones, you can also order on my site, and I can send it like 5 or 10 cones. It's okay, but not 100 or 200 or 1,000 cones. I cannot send, or it will be a whole organization.
How many cones do you think someone? I'm around a lot of small farmers, and a lot of us have like 1 to 6 acres. How many cones do you think would? And maybe you can answer this, maybe you cannot answer this question, but how many cones would you say someone on 1 acre could potentially need? And say this person has a lot of quartz in their garden. Say they have a lot of cosmic energy. Would you have to then use more cones, or? Just curious.
No, it's the cones I put. The cones are already they are already balanced between the earth and cosmic energy. So it's not a problem if at certain places there's more earth energy or cosmic energy. The cones will help to. It will help to harmonize that. No, how many? If you have a garden or an acre or 2 or 3 acres, you can put 1 cone each 6 meters. So it's 18 feet. So each 18 feet around the field, you put a cone in the earth. So you make a hole and you put it in the earth. There's a big difference with the magnetic antennas, because the cone, you don't have to orient it. You just put the cone horizontally in the earth. And in the past, with the magnetic antennas, you need to orient with the earth magnetic field. Now you can use the two. You can also use the magnetic antennas and the cones. It will even increase also the energies. But the cones we put like... That's what we're gonna do. Very good. So the cones we put like 1 every 6 meters. And you can even put more, but it's like you want. If you put more, you will have even more energy, but you don't have to put the less. And when you plant trees, then you put a cone below the tree, so you can make the hole. You put the cone inside the hole, and you plant the tree above it. And then you will see it's amazing. I did that last year. I never saw trees growing so well than with a cone. And I did already electroculture techniques before, but since I used the cone for trees, it's really amazing. It's really amazing, the results. You can,
So you're
if your plants are.
I'm sorry. You're just making
No,
the cones. You're not making the actual column to the cone. Like the one that I purchased from your website, it was a small cone, maybe I think it's 3 feet tall, but it was like a basalt column, and then you put the cone.
Oh, yes, the tower. Are you was speaking about the tower like this? Maybe.
Yeah, but what you're saying now is that you don't necessarily need the tower, you just need the cone, and to bury the cones in the ground, this is much easier than the antenna. This is much easier than the running the galvanized wire, deep in the earth.
It's more. Yes, but it's easier, but you can use the two techniques because each technique will improve certain specific energies that the other will not. So, you can use the two. If you want really the most results and the best results, then you use the most techniques you can, because there are different techniques. Because an example, the cone is an invention that came from the towers. It was in the past, I made towers, but they were flat. And then I made cones on top of it because I saw the Irish round tower that were always with a cone. And then I measured the angle. And then I saw that it was 51 degrees. And I saw, wow, that's really amazing because it's in relation with the pyramids and everything. So you can make cones for the tower. And I had already good results with the tower without the cones. It was just where I put basalt rock inside, and I put then a big rock on top of it. But afterwards, I put the cones, and it worked even better. And then one time, it was a friend of mine in the group of Electroculture. He made cones, or some cones, to put on the tower, and he had a lot too much, and they were like a little broke with pieces and broke. They were not perfect, and then he began to dig it in the earth in his greenhouse, and then all plants began to grow really amazing. It was really fantastic, and then this gives me the idea to make it more little, like this one, and use like my magnetic antennas in the past, and to put it all around the field. And then I begin to do that since 2018, and it has also huge results. It works really very well. And that creates like pyramid energy. It's like if you have a field, and you put the cones around, it's like you put your whole field in a pyramid. it's the same, similar. It's very similar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
how deep?
And you can, if you want to, yeah.
How deep would you bury those cones? Like, for example, a lot of the farmers I know, they have these Italian tractors, the BCS, walk behind tractors, and a lot of these guys.
Yes, BCS.
Yeah, so I use the power harrow to help mix the top soil layer. It just rotates it. It doesn't till. I don't like to till. I'm a no-till gardener, but I like to use that harrow because it'll mix my minerals very well. So I just need to make sure the cone is below this line, right, of my machine, obviously. Or do I need to go deeper? How deep would you suggest we go?
No, you can put it as deep as you want, or you can even put it on top of the soil. But if you work with machines, your soil, then then you have to be careful that you put it deep enough that you don't break the cones.
Right.
So, but it's not so important how deep you put it.
Okay.
So,
yeah. This was something I ran into, Yannick, because on my farm, it's like I want to do Justin Christophe's antenna, and I even started to make my own, and looked at certain things. Like I saw what you made, and then I started to like think about the box that he has, the different materials, and then I saw the spirals, that you were using, and I really was interested, but I was going to need to go and buy a machine to make a trench very deep enough in the soil, to make this work. And it's a lot of work, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, because I feel like this is important work to do. But when I hear you talk about how effective the cones are, it makes me just want to make a bunch of cones. So, yeah, it's
you can do the two and the tower. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's my plan. My situation, the situation on my farm it's a research farm, and we work with the Bionutrient Food Association. And I don't know if you know these guys, but I would love to introduce you to them. They have developed a meter. We have a meter, and we can measure the nutrient density of vegetables. And we've been spending the last 4 or 5 years, and we're collecting data. And we have the instrument now. The technology will soon be. Yes, and the technology will soon be inside your phone. So a customer can go to the farmer's market. They can have maybe carrots from 3 different farms. They can scan each carrot, and it will show them which one has more polyphenols, which one has more antioxidants, which one has more vitamin A. It will actually show them this. And this technology exists right now. It's developed right now. And this is something that I really was excited to share with you, because I know that this is the reason why you're into electroculture and into growing plants, is not just because you love it. Obviously, that is awesome, and so do I. But to make the food more nutritious. And when we make the food more nutritious, we do not have disease, we do not have pests, because the plants are producing the hierarchy metabolites, the certain lipids and the essential oils, and they actually start to radiate a different energy, and the insects cannot see them, right? So I want to connect you with our organization that we're working with.
There are a lot of there's a problem with the connection, but yes, the measurement device you are talking about looks very interesting. So when you can send me more about it, I would be very happy to participate, measure nutrient content, things like that, because that's really very, very interesting. And in relation with electroculture, every time there was a measurement, do you hear me? Because I don't hear you.
Yes.
So every time there was a measurement of nutrient content in the fields where there was electroculture in comparison without, there was always a lot more nutrient content. It was sometimes sometimes double, and sometimes even more. So it's really And what we observe, as soon as we begin with those techniques of electroculture, like the atmospheric antennas, it's a basic technique, very easy to do. As soon as we begin with those techniques, we will see that all vegetables will have a lot more flavor and sense. We smell really a lot more flavor. It's really amazing. And there is even a vegetable grower in France, in Bretagne. He sells his vegetables on the local markets, and he is the first to sell out all his vegetables on the market, because the people know it's the best vegetables with the most taste and smell, and then it's only after that the people go buy to the others. when his place is empty, then the people go buy to the others. That's awesome. Really amazing.
Yeah, you know,
and he has that farmer.
Go ahead.
That farmer has a lot of round towers in his field. Really a lot. He have put really like 5 or 10 round towers in his field. Mm.
And he's not worried about the dowsing. He's not worried about putting it in the wrong spot, you know. Anne just really drills this home in her book. And I just find that to be very uplifting to hear that this is not necessary, because when you talk about dowsing to people, they think it's witchcraft. You know, they're like, oh my gosh, what is this dowsing? You take these rods and like you said, everybody interprets it differently. And to me, this is like where I like learning about new things and learning about old ways and new ways of doing things. I feel like the Egyptians and the pyramids are antennas, and they were helping grow food. And I feel like that this has been going on for way longer than we ever know. Like now we're finding out maybe 50,000 years ago that we had advanced civilizations and they were doing things post-Ice Age. So they obviously knew this. But, you know, you start to kind of question some things when you don't understand certain energies and things like this. But a lot of what I see is almost like it's very pagan. It's very pagan kind of it's safe to say the word witchcraft, but the word just seems like almost like it's nonsense to do some of these things. So I love hearing that you're having very positive results with not worrying about this.
An example about paganism or things like that and dowsing. If we connect it to religion or to really past philosophies, we find that on all temples in the world, almost all, they have like atmospheric antennas on it. You see a church, a temple, a Catholic church, you see an Orthodox church, you see a Muslim mosque, you see an Indian Buddhist temple. You will have always those structures in cones or with atmospheric antennas, things like this. And when we look at the history, I'm studying that now. When we look at the history of electricity, well, 200-300 years ago, there were more talking about etheric forces and life energy. They were interested to understand from where comes life energy. And then they were thinking about those electrical phenomenon, and they see also that when you have a storm or thunder and rain, that all plants grow better. So they were thinking in electricity there is that life energy, and then they begin to make a lot of devices for healing, for increasing plant also electroculture, and then like 200-300 years ago. Then the scientific people, or a part of it, begin to manipulate the knowledge and to say, oh, life energy doesn't exist. We don't talk about this anymore. And now we will only talk about electrons or a kind of electrical energy that comes from the sky and that make mechanical catastrophes and nothing else. You see, they begin to transform our perception. In place of seeing life, we see now thunder, or there will be a storm, a catastrophe. It's a huge burst of life energy. And yes, it can make harm if it's too much at a pace or in a short time. But if we see it in the positive way, it's a whole different aspect. And then they put that. Then we can understand why they put all those atmospheric antennas before the invention of dating, because the invention to stop lightning and lighting rods to protect the buildings, that was only in the 1700s. From they speak about Franklin that would have invented that. It's not really true, because it existed even before him. But before him, they put that to increase life energy. And so you see that where you have those temples and those antennas or towers, because before the churches they built around towers like this, or towers like this. So it was like to protect and increase the life energy in a certain field, and then the people will stay there and live there and build their homes and everything, and it makes like an energy field. I believe that in that way, and now it's like we rediscover those aspects, and I really carefully observe nature. That's how I discover things too. It's really by carefully observation. And then I test those cones, those towers, those magnetic antennas, and then I observe what is happening in my garden. And then I improve the things. I did already a lot of things. I put my magnetic antennas in different ways, in different orientations, and I saw with the years in which orientation it works well and which not. And that's how I because if it's or in old books I read, you have to put it like this or like this. I also try in the opposite to see what happens, and sometimes it's a catastrophe. So sometimes it's very bad. So we have to be careful. When an example, if we put a magnet in the wrong way, connected to a wire, then all plants will grow less. They will grow like maybe 20-30% less. So you see that very soon. So it's very important to orient it. And the application with a magnetic antenna or a magnet, it's interesting too, because if you don't put it in the right direction, it doesn't work, or even make bad energies, because the plant doesn't grow as well or less. So it's not the magnet itself that creates the energy. No, the magnet acts like an antenna with the Earth magnetic field, and what we collect is the Earth magnetic field, and it's in relation with the Earth magnetic field. It's like a radio is an antenna with radio waves that are sent to the radio. It's not the radio itself that creates that energy. No, the radio is only it's only a receiver and an amplifier and transmitter. And so But here the antennas is like we make radios where you even don't need to put a battery inside, because it will receive the information and the energy, and it will amplify it and transmit it. You see, it's like Nikola Tesla inventions, where he could make things working without energy source. Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
So
that's something that, right outside of my town, it's about maybe an hour from my home. There is a Tesla tower right south of Dallas. There's a massive Tesla tower that has been built, and not a lot of people know about it, but everybody sees it when you drive to Austin from Dallas. Austin is the capital of my state, and it's about a 4-hour drive. But yeah, there's this massive Tesla antenna there, and everything Tesla was doing was definitely something we should be paying attention to and trying to basically get his information out, then we wouldn't be in such a mess. We could have free energy. We wouldn't have to pay for electricity. We'd have free energy. And maybe Tesla wanted to put a Tesla coil on the north and south pole of the planet, and he said free energy for everybody. Who knows? Maybe if this would happen, maybe we wouldn't have to even use electroculture. Maybe these towers would make everything improve and we could grow food again, like no problem, but I just feel that electroculture is important. Is so important now because so many farmers are struggling, and the ones that are growing organic, they cannot afford. They have to constantly buy inputs. They buy the fertilizer, they buy the compost, they're buying something, buy the certification. But I truly believe that in order for us to fix the food epidemic, the food problem that we have now, is that we have to learn to not only grow food more nutrient dense, but we have to figure out how to do that in a closed loop model, in a model to where we're not constantly buying things and bringing them into our farms. We have to produce the food cheaper, but make it more nutrient dense. And I feel like electroculture is going to play a huge role in this, because how else are we going to be able to do this?
Yes, it's for sure.
So
yes, for sure.
Anyway,
like you were telling about Tesla or the ID, with a few antennas we could distribute enough energy in the whole world in a certain way. Well, electroculture is also about that, is that the energy is there, but in society or in our civilization, they cut us from the knowledge how to do. But we see that in the past, there was more knowledge about this. And even before Tesla, there was a lot of knowledge about this. And he makes some knowledge surviving. And now it's like we rediscovered that. But the system doesn't want that we really rediscover that, because if we rediscover that, then we don't need all those inputs, to buy all those inputs for fertilization, for pest treatment, because we can do it with the local energies, with very simple tools, with pieces of wires and some rock and some towers and cones and in certain forms. And so, but that knowledge, it's coming back, and this makes us more free, more independent, more autonomous all over the world for each country. And also for our well-being too, because when we increase the well-being of the plants, our food, we increase also our well-being. And all those waves and energy we also need. Like a tower will create Schumann waves around will amplify, and this is very beneficial also for us. And it will also develop. There are certain writings and observations about that it helps us to develop some qualities like telepathy, intuition. If we go in a pyramid also, that energy field will help us to grow and to develop our qualities like intuition, telepathy, and those capacities makes us also more independent, autonomous, because then we can better discern what is right and wrong. If somebody is lying to us, or if he is truthful to us, we can recognize that more easily if we have a good intuition or good feeling.
Mm-hmm. We don't need to use Google. No more Google. Increases. Every time someone needs to know something nowadays, let me get on the internet. Let me Google it. And it's like, oh man, what happened to us? What happened to our ability to, Dan, the guy who owns the Bionutrient Food Association, and I already sent you an email with the website as we were talking. I already sent it to you. But he talks a lot about this, and he talks a lot about how we need to learn to communicate with the plants. And I personally have been down to South America quite a bit, and I've worked with specific plants down there, and the people that I work with down there, they talk a lot about how you need to fast and only consume one plant. They call it a deity. And when you do this, you start to be able to wake up to the reality that there is a communication that can happen between you and these plants. And when you work with specific plants, like master plants, then you're caught all the psychic energy, but not just psychic energy, but just your ability to have what we call ears to hear and eyes to see. You start to open your bandwidth starts to open. You can hear things you normally did not hear and see things you normally could not see. And that I feel like changes how we feel.
Yes, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like it correlates to a feeling. When you can see and hear differently, you start to feel differently. You start to, and then it becomes more subtle. Because in America, we are not subtle. People have been, they blow, they go, sex, drugs, alcohol, caffeine, stimulation. And what this does is it destroys the softness or the subtleness of life. And it makes people extremely violent. And in America, we have so much violence in our movies, in people on Instagram and social media. They're so violent with each other. And I believe it's because of this very thing that they've tried to take away from us. They've tried to take this power of subtle energy awareness away from us. And it's so important that we learn to meditate, learn to still the mind and be still with ourselves. And then when we can create an environment with electroculture, like you're talking about, these things can really help us remember, because this isn't something new. This isn't new age information. This is ancient knowledge and an ancient understanding that has been taken from us. They've taken it from us because of the construct, the industrial complex that we now see as a global phenomenon. So I just want to thank you so much, bro, for the work you do, because most people would rather give up their dreams for a paycheck. And you, my friend, have taken the extra steps. You've been doing this for over 20 years. And it's just such a powerful thing. And for me to just be able to know you, to have you here today on the podcast, it means a lot to me, man. I really appreciate it, because it's so important.
Thank you very much.
it's so important that we get this information out for people.
Well,
And
what I would say as a conclusion is it's when we do things like you, me, our activities, it's like we do things, it's not about money. It's really because we are passionate about and we like it, and we find that there is something important for everybody, for the common interest. And even if there is no money, we will continue. It's not about money. So, but we need to live. We have all some activity that makes that we earn some money to pay our checks and everything. But in today's world, we have to be careful that we not become a slave of money and capitalism and all what they want to impose to us. To organize society. No, we have to create a new society with technologies and with the knowledge we want that is beneficial, that makes us more autonomous, independent, that will be more peaceful, because we see that or some kind of mad people in our governments that and do everything to make us blind of all those knowledge. But that all that knowledge, like electroculture, is really about knowledge, because technologically, you don't need much devices or things. You just pieces of wires, some magnets, some basalt rock that you can find everywhere in the world, and you can do things. So it's not about high technology and much money to invest. No, it's about knowledge. And when you have the knowledge, you can do it, and you can do it very easy. And so it can change really profoundly the world. You don't need really a big tractor, even if maybe it can help. It's really about knowledge. And I think it's very positive when we see in 20 years, when I observe from where I came, and in the beginning, when I talked about influence of music on plants, people were laughing. Now people, most people say, "Wow, it's interesting." So it's really interesting to see that the world is changing also in a positive way, but that they don't show in our media. But the fact that you exist, that I exist, that Andrea exists, that others exist to develop all those techniques and to transmit that knowledge shows that there are really positive things going on in this world, and that's very good.
Yes. And it's so important that we surround ourselves around that energy, because there's so much negativity constantly being force fed into our lives. You know, I don't watch the news. I don't do any of this stuff. And it's still that energy finds its way, maybe through a relative, maybe through my email or through the internet. I open a web page, and so I find that it's so important now that we create community. And we have the internet, which allows me to speak to you in another country. And that's such a powerful tool and such a blessing to have. But we have to understand that we have to use this technology to benefit us and not to brainwash us. Because at the same token that I can speak to someone like you and Andrea, and I can talk with you guys, I could also go and look at something else that's very bad for me, whether it be the news or maybe something that, you know, is distracting or very doomsday. You know, so many people that wake up to alternative healing, alternative lifestyle, they can easily become very upset when they find out what's really going on. But we have to understand that with great knowledge becomes, great power, but that also requires a huge responsibility, and to truly be sovereign and to take responsibility for our own emotions and to harbor our consciousness. I feel like the war is not in Russia and Ukraine or Iraq or whatever new war they make. The war is on our minds, our consciousness, and we have to wake up every day and maybe we pray or we meditate, but we have to make sure that we're doing something every day to create a force field or a shield of protection, and to make sure that the actions and the things we do can help make that force field stronger and more powerful. And now we can actually create change, because it's good to talk, but I feel like we should talk less now and do more work. Now it's time to work, and we've talked enough, right?
Yes,
we know what we need to do, and now it's time to work and to get our fingernails dirty, to get into the dirt and to grow new humans, literally from the earth, feet into the earth, barefoot into the ground. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank
like
you
you
so
say
much
about
today.
it corresponds with the view. It's that for me, the war is inside all of us. It's like really between good intentions and bad intentions, between good energies and bad energies. We have temptations inside of us, and if we give too much energy to the bad, then we will create bad in our world around us, and each people around us can be bad and good. And so we need to really cultivate. It's like we cultivate our garden. We cultivate it to make a paradise, or we can make war zone. But it's our choice. So everybody can make a paradise around him. And even if other people try to make it a war zone, we try to make it a paradise. Yeah.
It's alchemy.
It's like this.
It's alchemy. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well,
but it can be really. Yeah, thank you very much for to invite me and also for you. It was very interesting to listen to your viewpoints too and your opinion. It's very nice to share common points like this. It's always it encourages us always to improve and doing more, like you say.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
If you could, yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. And if you could please let everybody know where they can contact you, your website, any information you would like to
my internet site. It's electroculturevandoorne.com. You have also my YouTube channel. Now, a lot is still in French, but I have also in English, and I will do more and more videos in English, and my books will be translated also. It will take some time, sorry, but it will be translated also in English. So, and you can also contact me through mail. But not too much, because sometimes I have really a lot to respond. But you can. I try to respond to all the mails. It takes me 1, 2, 3 hours a day, but I try to respond to all the mails. So, voilà, you can. Yes, and also you have the groups on social media about electroculture, where you can find me. I have groups of my own, and there are also other groups existing. So my group, you can find it easily if you search for electroculture and you put my name. Normally, you can find it easily. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you for. I wish you good day, good evening, and maybe till the next conversation.
Yes. And if you could please don't click off just yet, because we're waiting on the audio to keep uploading here. So, but yes, thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. But please leave